Hey everybody, and welcome back to Slow Your Roll. I'm Cody.
I'm Alex.
And today is the second episode of our duo campaign, Celestia's Call, using DC20. So, let's get right into this. Our Session 1 recap. Greetings, everyone, adventurers. Okay, here we go. Last we left off, our intrepid hero, Zephyrian, accompanied by his loyal dragonette, set out from Dorinth, with fresh supplies and the memory of a mystical star plummeting from the heavens. In his travels, Zephyrian stumbled upon a sand-swallowed wagon and its skeletal occupant clutching a journal. The writings within spoke of Pyrothrax, a dragon infamous for scorching the earth. As fate would have it, Zephyrian encountered a band of dragon cultists. With a display of power and persuasion, he convinced 3 kobolds that he was an envoy of their revered Pyrothrax. In a twist of destiny, a colossal dragon with shimmering silver scales soared across the sky, eclipsing the sun. Seizing the moment, Zephyrian swayed the kobolds to pledge their allegiance to him in service to Pyrothrax. As night fell, Zephyrian and his newfound kobold acolytes settled into camp. But peace was short-lived, for an aged, battle-scarred orc and his novice son appeared on a cliff above. With a gruff command, the elder orc directed his progeny to strike down our slumbering heroes. Well, what peril lies ahead for Zephyrian and his companions? All right, here we go. So, you are resting, or actually, I guess you didn't quite make it to resting. You were just about to start resting. With the subtle snoring of your lizard companions. You're a whole band of lizards, really. That's funny, okay. That's how that is, apparently. As you begin to nearly drift off to sleep, you look up and you see the silhouette of said battle-hardened orc and his son. After the orc gives this command to his son, you have a brief moment to react as you see the son immediately starts to kind of like run down the cliff. And I'm going to give him a little bit of movement away from where he was. He starts kind of like plodding his way down, nearly to the ground where you are, or at least the ground level where you are. He's not very close to you yet, per se.
Okay, definitely.
There was one thing that you noticed as well. Now taking in this scene, as your adrenaline starts filling your veins, you do see that the orc he seems to have something around his neck, like a big necklace. Looks like a bunch of ropes or leather or something, until you realize he grabs them off of his neck and just kind of like throws them out into the air. And you're like, those ropes or leather aren't ropes and leather. They are a bunch of snakes. And he immediately like makes a couple like snickering sounds, seeming to possibly command them a bit.
Okay.
And he kind of just like throws them in the air and they kind of just like scatter about. Okay, with all that happening, what exactly are you doing?
Well, that's not frightening at all. I'm probably going to mentally tell the kobolds that are with me, get up, get up, get up. We're under attack.
Okay. What? Under attack? And you see Glimmerclaw runs out, especially. He like kind of sprints out towards the group and sees what's happening. The rest awaken and slightly move out of the tent just to see what's going on.
Definitely. I would actually like to spend an action point to analyze creature with a skill-based action and to discern if these are like, I guess, poisonous, venomous. Have I seen them before? Are they good eating? You know, all the good stuff.
Okay, cool. We'll make that a quick action even before combat starts, technically. So go ahead and just roll I would see that as maybe survival or animal handling, depending on which you'd think Zephyrian would handle.
Definitely. And Zephyrian would definitely want it to be survival.
That's good, because that makes more sense to me anyway. After I said animal handling, I was like, that doesn't make that much sense.
I got 10 plus 5, 15.
All right, 15. Let's see. The snakes, you get a glimpse of them and you kind of recognize them. You don't see any patterns that suggest that they're anything other than, well, they do seem highly aggressive, but not necessarily poisonous or venomous.
Okay, good. And are they like large snakes or are they a normal size snake?
They're on the larger side for sure. Like they're somewhat coiled up, but if they weren't, they'd be probably like maybe even as long as like 6 or 7 feet. Like they're pretty big snakes.
Dang, okay. Big enough to eat a kobold.
Pretty much.
Shoot, all right. I kind of want to get into combat. Should we roll initiative or...
Yeah, all right, let's do it. If it's to the point that we're taking combat actions, heck yeah, let's do it. So go ahead and roll initiative for really your whole team if you want. That's something I didn't consider. For anyone else watching, normally initiative in DC20 works where the whole team individually would roll, because normally it'd be like, 4 players or whatever instead of a single player running a bunch of characters.
They're just sidekicks.
Yeah, exactly.
But do I add anything to my initiative, or is it just a flat roll?
So what is the action that you might take first? And even if it isn't what you take, it's like what you would initiate combat with, at least.
Oh, okay.
So it's the action you start to take, if that makes sense.
Nice.
That way you're not shoehorned into doing exactly what you said, depending on what the outcome is.
Okay, I would likely try to put up my fire shield.
Okay, so we could treat that like a spell attack technically, so you would add your spell attack stuff to your roll.
Okay, cool. So 12 plus 4 and 16.
Okay, nice. The initiative, or the encounter DC was 15, so you just beat it, meaning that at least one person, well, specifically one person from your group can act first, and then initiative will fall in line after that.
Okay, sure thing.
Or group, if you decide to have the kobolds go, and if you want to keep them a group, you can do that too. That's up to you.
Sounds good to me. I just rolled for more or less my group. Okay, so first things first, I'm definitely going to put up my fire shield because it gives me... It's 2 AP to use and 1 MP, and the range is self-duration. Sorry, I'm trying to read it off.
You're good.
Okay. A protective magical force surrounds you, manifesting a spectral flame that covers you and your gear. You emit light in 2 space radius and make a DC 15 spell check. Upon success, you gain 3 temporary HP. Each success, another HP. Failure, 2 temporary HP.
Okay, I gotcha. So the DC is 15 for that. That's interesting.
Yes. And if a creature hits you with a melee attack while you have this temporary HP, the creature takes 1 fire damage for each temporary HP it consumes with its attack.
Nice. Very cool. Okay, sweet. Well, go ahead, make that check, and we'll see how this goes.
Not well.
Oh, no.
But it's still 2 temporary HP, and I'm on fire.
Okay. Nice. All right, sweet. Okay, sweet.
Heck yeah. Fire shield up, and I'm going to instruct the kobolds to be very careful, work as a team. Even if this costs me a minor action to, like, I don't know, maybe even a help action to inform all of them what they're supposed to do, or just telling them only fight one snake at a time, and I'll take the other.
Ah, okay, yeah. We will just call that your minor action, so that's no problem. That sounds good.
Okay, cool. And so after I take the minor action, I would like to send the dragonette on to Glimmerclaw, the one who's likely going to be up forward, and I want to use 2 AP that the dragonette has as a protector to give it +5 to its physical defense.
Okay, nice. That sounds awesome.
So if this one, he's pretty much protecting Glimmerclaw right now, and that's half of his AP. And if Glimmerclaw moves forward to attack, which I'll do them as soon as my turn is done, I just wanted to make sure he was protected real quick.
Gotcha.
Okay, so I've already spent 2 AP and 1 MP, which means I still have 2 AP. So I'm gonna move around a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces is my limit. So I'm gonna move right over here. And I should still have 1 action point left over, which honestly, I think I'm going to... Okay, I'm going to spend 1 AP to cast Mind Blast on this enemy right here.
Okay.
And it's with disadvantage, unfortunately. But let's give it a roll.
Yeah, no problem.
9, 6, even worse. 6 plus 4.
6 plus 4 just hits, actually.
Nice. We got it with 10.
Yep.
Okay, and that is 1 psychic damage against it.
Alrighty. So you watch as right away as you kind of like prep your mind and literally assault this smaller creature's mind. That was against its MD, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So So it actually, never mind, I'm not gonna say that. Okay,
No worries.
So you watch as this snake literally just like riles its head back and kind of just like slams around, wriggles around a little bit, and actually stops moving completely to the point that you think it's even incapacitated or dead.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Since Zephyrian's turn is technically over and the Dragonette wouldn't move anywhere without Glimmerclaw, he's going to just stick with him.
Okay, I'm gonna say that the snakes are going to be the ones to move next, and I had them on the same initiative as well. They are going to probably just head directly towards Glimmerclaw, this first one especially. Maybe this one would... Yeah, actually, this one's gonna do the same thing. They're both gonna head over towards Glimmerclaw. All right, and in flanking in DC20 works a little different. Not too different, though. Okay. So, in DC20, flanking works... When an enemy is flanked, they just get a +2 to attack rolls towards that enemy. Not full advantage like D&D. Just a +2. But a flanking occurs if there's like any 2 creatures around the target, as long as they aren't right next to each other.
Okay.
So you don't have to be exact opposite directions to flank and stuff like that in DC20, but the bonus is a little bit more minimal, so that's a thing. So they are going to try to approach Glimmerclaw here, and both snakes, after moving, are now going to lunge out towards Glimmerclaw with gnashing teeth. Glimmerclaw has a +5, right?
Yes, so he's 12
Excellent.
+5 at 17 physical defense.
There we go. There we go. That's what we're talking about. That's pretty good. Okay, so the first snake lunges out and attacks, and that would be, after everything is said and done, it would be only a 14. So that one misses. And the next one's attack is only a 9, so that one misses as well. And the other snake is out for the count. So it would be whoever's next on your turn now.
Okay, I would say Glimmerclaw.
All right. So to reiterate the miscommunication earlier, if you want all the kobolds to act together, I'm definitely okay with that. That's up to you.
Okay, nice. Yes, I will make them all act at the same time.
Okay, yeah. Since you're technically sharing AP between them anyway, if you want to, then yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, it's just 3 kobolds in a trench coat.
Exactly.
So we've got Glimmerclaw, and he's got his physical defense bolstered right now from the Dragonette. He's going to look at the one that's right next to his brother, because he's always going to be the protector, and slam down as hard as he can. He doesn't have to move anymore, so he's got 2 AP, and he would probably just empower that one attack.
There you go.
Hard claw on that one thing right there.
And you can add the +2 from flanking there as well.
Nice. All right. Oh, he tried
Wait,
so
it was
hard.
empowered.
What's that? Oh, and empowered. Does that mean I did advantage?
Yes.
Nice. Thank God. Much better.
Whew.
That's going to be 12, 14, and I believe Glimmerclaw has +3 to his attacks, and the other ones are just normal?
Yep.
Nice. Okay, so he did a 17.
Okay. Yeah, so very quickly, Glimmerclaw sees the threat towards Soot Snout and lunges out towards this snake and absolutely demolishes the snake.
Just splattered.
Yeah, basically. So that one's out as well.
The other 2, obviously, happy as a clam that they just saw their brother, the strong one, take out something without a breath. And they're going to both run up on this snake right here, spending 1 AP each. And they both just want to do a good old foot stomp right to the head. Just kick the snake. Probably even try to... Narratively, I don't need it to be a shove, but it'd be cool if they could, kick the snake away. But it's just an attack.
Yeah, sounds good.
And they're both going to make the attack at the same time. Just normal attack. So one of them missed outright.
Yes.
And the other one didn't do very well either. So I got a 2 and then a 5 for both of them against the snake's physical defense.
Yeah, unfortunately, neither of those
+2
ones
for
cut
flanking, so 7.
Yep. So unfortunately, neither of those, even with the 7, neither of those hit the snake and manages to wriggle out of the way just in time from the kicks. Unfortunately.
Hey, no, that's totally fine. And that's gonna be the 3 kobolds in a trench coat turn.
All right, perfect. Okay. next up, you are seeing this young orc boy making his way down the rest of the rocks, and he's actually going to... You see him, like, put a lot of oomph into making it towards you, and he gets that far. And then you see him reach for, like, a sling that he has, and, like, very surprisingly efficiently loads this thing with a sling bullet. And it's kind of like on the way down, he's like pulling it off of his side and loads the thing up, and he's just like swinging the sling around like a madman. And it's impressive. Like, you're like, holy crap, this is a child, and he's ready to kill me right now, kind of thing. And so he's going to sling that bullet towards you. Let's see. Oh, but he, in the heat of battle, he just hardly misses you with only an 8.
Okay, good. Still a little green.
Yeah, exactly. And he looks kind of just like frustrated. And he's going to use the last bit of what he has to actually just make it even closer to you. Like, he's just like angry and just like, dang it, and just like sprints towards you. Kind of ends his turn meeting you eye to eye there. And then I think everyone... Okay, so now the orc would go to finish up that side's turn, technically.
Yep.
Okay, he's going to move a few spaces, and you see him. He shouts out this just like insanely powerful, just like encouragement towards his kid. He's just like, "You can do it, kid! Come on, kill him!" And you notice that the kid gets like a little less frustrated, and he just looks determined. He looks really determined. And that's gonna add some bonuses to rolls for the kid, most likely.
Okay, it's almost like a warlord of sorts.
Yeah, something like that, exactly. So then you see the orc angrily pulls a bow off of his back and takes a shot toward... Let's see here. Yeah, the orc's pretty smart. He's battle hardened. He can tell that you're running the show. So the orc is going to try to shoot you with a short bow.
Okay.
And it rolls a natural 1.
You're doing well.
That's funny. So technically the orc is... So he lunges back and like reaches out for the bow, takes the shot, and you realize the arrow just goes like way off to the side, and he like skims his arm with the bow string itself, and you just see him kind of like showing his age a little bit, you know, just kind of an old... Sure, he's seen a lot of war, but man, he's old. And that's it for their turn. So we're back up at the top with you.
Dang, all right. So this kid, I would like to start casting sleep on him, and I want to make sure it's not going to affect any of the kobolds or snakes. So I want to make sure that it's 15 spaces is only around this kid.
Okay, I gotcha. Let's see. We should be able to do that pretty easily if we did like... Let's do this. Oops. Okay. 15 spaces? Dang, that's huge.
What is the sleep? Range 15 spaces. This spell ends... I'm pretty sure it's just 15 spaces away on one specific creature. I have sleep and Bane right next to each other, and they just... Bane affects 3, sleep affects 1, and I just always think the opposite. But I think I can empower it to make it more.
Yeah, okay. I think sleep affects anyone that's in range technically, because the result is how many people, like the result of the roll decides how many people it affects because of the health or something, right?
Oh, okay. Yep, you're right. 4 spaces within a point of when I choose. So if the point is right here, then nobody should be able to be a part of it.
Yep. Okay. Yep. Sounds good.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to cast Sleep on this guy. And the spell can affect up to 10 HP worth of creatures, and for a success, +2. So for an extra success, you get +2 HP. Ooh, 9 plus 4. So we got 13, and we're going to be putting the sleep on this guy right here. Does a 13 get this guy?
How much health is it by, or what is the result of a success?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that was a contested thing. It's just make a DC 10 spell check. That was my fault.
Oh, no worries.
Okay, so just make a DC 10 spell check, and success every 5. And I happen to roll a 13 for this guy.
What is the spell's effect, though? It's like a health amount, is that right?
So, success. This spell can affect 10 HP worth of creatures.
10 HP, okay.
Yep. With each 5, you get another 2. And if you fail, it only does 5 HP.
Gotcha. It was the 10 HP that I was forgetting about. Okay, cool. So I gotcha. Yeah, so you did succeed. So 10 HP worth of creatures fall asleep. And you do notice that immediately when you cast this, the kid's all empowered from his possible father, or at least father figure, just like screaming encouragement at him. And the kid's just like, yes, I can do this. And then you watch that quickly fade as like his facial expression stays the same sort of, but his eyes just close. And you watch him just kind of like fall over.
Nice.
The kid is currently sleeping.
Perfect. And whether it be a full action or maybe if I could argue for a minor action, I'll just take the net out of my pouch and just gently put it on top of him and then walk away. Like walk towards the adult.
Yes. Okay, fun.
But if that was a full action, I still have 2 AP. And I'm going to start walking towards this guy here. That's 1 full movement. And then I'm going to use the rest of the movement to actually just get to this guy. So I can remove 40, so it's going to be right there.
Nice, there you go. All right, and you notice that the orc father is just so mad. He's just like, how dare you? Just freaking out.
Right.
All right.
And then that's my turn.
Okay.
I'll leave the dragonette just being with the kobolds.
Okay, that works. Okay, so then the snake would be next up, I suppose. And it kind of frustratedly knows it's probably not going to catch up to you. And this, I mean, it's a snake, you know, so it is what it is. It's just kind of attacking. It's going to attack, seeing itself surrounded, it is going to attack basically just like what would be the closest one to him. So I'm going to say Soot Snout for now.
Sure.
That's just a D20. Oh boy, that was close. Okay, just an 8. And I don't think... Nope, Soot Snout's a... Wow, I almost said AC. That's embarrassing. Soot Snout's PD is higher than that. So he misses there, and frustratedly is actually going to just try to attack again, but with disadvantage this time.
Okay, nice.
And with disadvantage, it's a 14 actually. So this time he did manage to hit Soot Snout. But Soot Snout is only taking 1 damage from that attack. The viper-like snake plunges its teeth into the lizard skin.
Okay, good. Should be good for a little bit. But just for anyone who might be watching with me, your roll says 11, but on our chat log it says 14. And then the roll a second ago said 16, and then your chat log said 8. So for any discrepancies, I'm seeing that too.
Yeah, I don't know why it does that. It does that sometimes for your rolls for me too. Generally, moving forward, we just do what the chat log says.
Okay, cool.
Even if the dice doesn't match it.
It's a nice effect, though.
Right? Yeah, it's really strange. I'm not sure why that's a thing. But anyway, that is it for the snake's turn. So it would be, I suppose, the kobolds next.
Okay, definitely. The kobold, Glimmerclaw in particular, is going to go first. And he's going to try to smash this snake's face in just one more time. And he's going to also empower the attack because he doesn't have to move.
That makes sense to me.
Ooh.
Oh!
There we go. Natural 20 plus 5, technically, because of the plus 2, and then 3 because he's the fighter.
Oh, man. That's pretty awesome. Okay. So, I mean, I don't know. How does Glimmerclaw just obliterate that snake?
Honestly, the snake was like about to lunge, right? And then he's just throwing the punch, and then the snake's coming at the punch head first, and then the head just goes.
Nice. All right, yeah. So the snakes are out of the running here. All right, absolutely. Now what?
The dragonette would notice that the snakes are no longer a threat, and he would just move over to me, not doing anything, but just being next to me, using his AP to get there.
Nice.
And then Glimmerclaw's kind of stuck here, but Soot Snout, what's the movement on these guys?
We'll give them 4, just to keep it simple.
Okay, perfect. And then Soot Snout is going to be moving towards this guy here. Actually going to use all of his movement to get over here. Same with him over here, keeping this guy in check, just in case.
Yeah. Are they like, all right, now he's sleeping, let's kill him? Or I'm just kidding.
You know, that's a really good point. Hopefully, Zephyrian's probably out here like, don't wake him up. Just
there you go.
You know, keep him under wraps, but don't touch him.
There you go. All right, cool.
And then, that's all of the kobolds and dragonette. So now it's just me and the orc. What's he got to say?
All right, this orc, very angry with you, is going to use a decent amount of effort to make his way all the way over to you. And then you'll watch as, on the way over, he sheathes his bow, and he actually reaches down to 2 holsters that he has kind of like strapped on his back, and pulls out 2 short swords.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, and he's going to, and just like angrily running towards you, kind of like makes a very stout person looking leap. Like, it's not a very impressive leap, but he leaps into the air and attempts to attack you with both. We'll roll both attacks separately, but okay, so the first one he's gonna miss with it would be 7 after additives.
Oh, okay, dang. I'm really glad we're going by the chat log.
Well, it is 3, but I just didn't add numbers to it on there. So.
No, absolutely. It's just it rolled a 16 on mine. And I was like, oh, there it goes.
Okay, I see what you mean. So he swings at you once. Man, this poor orc is just not cutting it. So he swings at you once and it almost like loses his balance, and then angrily swings again with his other hand and misses again. So he's just mad. You hear him, he's just fuming. He's just like, no, they won't end like this. And that's that, man.
Oh man, starting to feel bad for this old dude.
Right, I know.
Okay, so is it back to my turn?
Don't feel that bad though, because after that he looks back up at you and makes like dead eye contact, and he's just like, I will kill you. Okay, carry on.
Totally. I'm going to, could I empower myself with the Dragonet to give myself a +5 to any single check until the Dragonet's next turn? That's the specific wording. To increase a spell attack.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay. I'm going to have that was an ear flapping by my dog, sorry.
Oh.
I'm going to have the Dragonet I'm going to have the Dragonet start my turn by empowering me with its 2 AP to give +5 to any single check until the Dragonet's next turn. And now I'm going to cast Sleep on this orc too.
Oh, okay.
And I need to make a DC10 spell check plus now 9.
Nice. Oh my gosh.
I feel like that did it well.
Yeah, so I'll save you the trouble of doing some math. That's definitely enough to put him asleep. That would be so much.
Yeah, for real. At least 14, maybe 16 worth of HP.
Yeah, yep. That is enough to do it. So as soon as you cast the spell, your Dragonet empowers you, and it's amazing the way that like the like spectral, almost mist-like aura around your Dragonet literally like transfers to you, and then you watch as you cast this spell, and the orc's eyes also kind of like emit the same type of mist, and then immediately just like shut close, and he just like drops down prone.
Nice. And then I assume I have a little bit of rope from my adventuring gear, so I would bind his hands and then bring him over by his son.
Okay, yeah, you can definitely do that. They're magically asleep for a little while, so that's definitely not an issue.
Yes, it only lasts 1 minute, so they're not down for too long.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so I would say with any help from your companions or anything like that, now that the threat is no longer immediately an issue as both of them are sleeping, you would be able to bind both of them up if you'd like, or at least the father, either way.
Yeah, I'd bind both of their hands if I can, if I have enough time in the minute that they would be asleep. I might even have suggested Soot Snout or Nimble Toe try to bind the boy that's currently under a net.
Okay.
But at the same time, I just want their hands tied, and then I'd start telling, I think it was Snoot Stout who was good at cooking, to gather the snakes and throw them on the fire.
Okay. Yep, sounds good. So generally, well, I'm going to pretty much just disregard the map at this point.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, everything is quite calm for at least a brief moment. You have both of these orcs kind of like their hands are bound, and you have them on the ground next to each other. And I guess like it'd be right about the time that they might start waking up. The snakes are on the fire at this point. Basically, they start waking up and they kind of just like look around. And you see that the kid looks pretty defeated. The kid's like just real sad looking. And the orc father, sitting down with his hands tied behind his back, kind of like wiggles around a little bit. And basically he's just like, why would you shame us like this? Just kill us. We have failed.
There's always another purpose in life, even if you failed at this one. And hopefully I would have taken the time to disarm them from any specific like weapons, but I would try to take all of their supplies and just kind of put it over in one of the tents. And then that's what I'd be doing while I'm having this conversation if they're awake.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good. And unfortunately, the orc father kind of seems to be admitting defeat and really doesn't fight you in any way. So you kind of take their stuff and hide it aside. And basically the orc's just like, you're a fool if you think that living for something other than defending your family and teaching them to grow strong, you're a fool. He's just upset, he's just stubborn old man.
Right. Stuck in his ways.
Yeah.
Have I gotten used to orcs? Do I see them often in my travels?
I imagine you'd see orcs, or at least hybrids, like half orcs, whatever, relatively often. You've traveled quite a few places.
Okay. So would you say that full-blooded orcs maybe aren't as prevalent in like civilized society?
Yeah, probably not as much. I would say that this one, it was a bit of a shock and immediately a little bit intimidating to see. These are straight up like savage. What is the word I'm trying to think of? Yeah, whatever. These are savage, not wild orcs. What am I trying? I don't know. Yes, these are savage orcs to the point that it's a little bit more intimidating than the average orc you've seen for sure.
Okay, definitely. Zephyrian, always on the lookout for his, I guess, targets in life, would try to say something in Fiend and then Celestial to this guy to see if he would understand me.
Oh, okay. As soon as you speak both languages as just a bit of a test, and basically the son kind of looks up and is almost a little bit fearful for a moment, and it's just basically just Father, what is he saying? And then the older orc is just I have no idea. It doesn't matter.
Okay. Then, since we're out of combat and I likely have them, I guess, subdued, I would like to start asking them specific questions. Where did they come from? Are they a part of a tribe?
Tribe! That's the word I was looking for earlier.
Are there more people that are going to come looking for them, more or less?
Okay. Interesting. So, let's see how willing they are to talk. Make an influence check.
Excellent. Influence +5. Gotta love that. I like playing smart characters.
Yeah, for sure.
14.
14. Okay. That is pretty decent. Let's see how helpful. Okay, so the older orc is basically yes, of course we have a tribe, but we're pretty far out of the range of them, and I don't expect that they'll come looking for us. Sadly, we don't have many warriors left in our tribe. I was trying to train my son to become one to gut small, insignificant creatures like yourselves.
I see. And how's that working out?
He kind of just grunts angrily.
Do you wish for your son's death?
And you see, for the first time, this older orc goes from frustrated to, you see it change in his face, and there's a concern that washes over his face quickly. And the son is also kind of worried, but you see the son kind of stomp his foot, and he's just yes, you should just kill us. We don't have any honor. And then the father is just shut up, boy. You don't know what you're saying. And then he kind of looks back up at you, and he's just no, please. If there's some way you could spare him, but even if that means killing me.
Well, there's only one thing to do, boys. And I'd be addressing Suts now and the rest of them. Drag him into the tent. And then we'd start taking the boy and the father into the tent, probably the smaller one, and close it off.
Okay.
Just leave him in there.
Interesting. Okay, fun.
Let them be with each other for a moment. And
all right.
Pretty much what we're going to do is just try to scare the living crap out of them. Maybe even make them think we're going to set the tent on fire. But really, we're just going to wait until the snakes are done cooking and leave.
Oh my gosh. All right.
And I would like to use the sorcery cantrip to make my red energy swirl everywhere.
Awesome. It's an intimidating display, and they are pretty spooked. They may not have been, but as soon as you mentioned the kid's life, kind of really changed things there. So,
and hopefully I could start teaching the kobolds as well that this was in their best interest. You know, like we shouldn't have to kill if we don't need to, but when it comes to that, never stray from it. You know,
interesting.
Good old paladin lessons.
Yeah, absolutely. And Glimmerclaw, specifically Glimmerclaw, is like, he's like, wow, I didn't know Pyrothrax had mercy in any way or displayed mercy. But you can tell that he's not doubting you. He's just like actually shocked. He's just like, that's crazy. Mm-hmm. But no, like wholeheartedly still invested in the fact that you're some sort of, you know, advocate in one way or another for Pyrothrax.
Yeah, I might even say, this isn't mercy, young child. They have to live with this defeat and overcome it. I did not give them anything but a challenge.
Nice.
Should they come back, what is it? Should they ever come back within my sight, they'll find the challenge much greater next time.
Epic. I love it. Yeah, so you still have just completely won over the hearts of these kobolds. They're just like, wow, so wise, amazing. But yeah, the snakes end up finished cooking.
I'd grab up all of the snake meat, maybe even eat a little bit on the way with like some steak kebabs or whatever. And if we don't have any water, I would make sure to tell the kobolds to fill up some of the alchemy bottles that I would have from my alchemy kit, so that way we could have it and then start heading out, because we don't want to stay here when they finally figure out that they can get out.
Yeah, right. Okay. Interestingly too, this whole encounter happened at kind of a bad time, because it was like the kobolds had just started sleeping. It was like the beginning of the night, really. Mm-hmm. So as this is all happening, it's still like, I mean, I don't know, feel free to like change the timeline if you just kind of didn't think about that, but it's still kind of technically just like the beginning of the night right now.
Oh, that's all right. This is kind of going to be one of those lessons where sometimes you can sacrifice small things for bigger things in the future. So we're going to persist tonight, even if that costs us an exhaustion. But I do want to find civilization or the star very soon. So that's the direction we're heading in. Or if the kobolds happen to know of a place that we can, I guess, have civilized conversations.
Right. Fair enough.
But honestly, if not, we're just wandering the desert.
Okay, no problem. You notice that though you may be tired, it is significantly easier traveling the desert at night, in the sense that it's so much cooler. Thankfully, there's enough like black sand as you're traveling around, especially as you get further through the desert. There's enough black sand that actually holds the heat of the sun from the day before, even more so that you're not freezing. It's like a quite pleasant, like 50 to 60 degrees most of the time that you're traveling.
Nice. There we go. Should be good for these old scales.
Yeah, right, exactly. And it takes you by surprise, the fact that you're just like, wow, I thought I'd be dying. Like normally deserts are freezing at night, but it's quite nice. And you travel through most of the night, and then like when the sun starts coming up, you are getting to the point that you're noticing a bit more foliage. You're noticing a bit more greens. It's a little less barren of a climate as you're traveling a bit further.
Okay. While we're traveling, I would try my best to teach the lessons that I would likely know as a sailor or a nomad about watching the stars, and which one would be like the North Star. So
there
like,
you go.
This is how you navigate whenever you can't find things.
Nice. There you go. Okay. Sounds good. You're making some wise kobolds. So
I got to use some of this intelligence.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So you travel a bit further, and then the day breaks, and you do find a spot that is eventually, you see in the distance, it's quite a bit less dry of a climate as you're moving forward now. You're even seeing some like pines and large oak trees here and there and things like that finally. And you actually you kind of like crest over a hill, and you see a small, well actually it's not that small. You see a relatively large cutout of like trees and land. It's kind of just like a flat area with just a bunch of tents and like a few different campfires throughout that area. And it's kind of just like off the side of the road, not too far. And it's just like this huge just like this area. It looks like just a big campsite, basically.
Okay. Are people at this campsite? Could I tell, like, if it's heavily traveled?
Yeah, as you get a bit further, it does definitely seem heavily traveled. You're seeing some of the paths, like some people are even like coming down towards your way. You might like come across a group of kids, like kind of just like playing on their own, kind of near the path. And the kids, they look like they're all just human kids, and they look up at you and they're just like, wow, mister, you came from the desert? That's dangerous. Our parents said not to go there.
Yes, very dangerous. You do not want to know where you'll get sand in.
I hate the sand.
And then I'll mentally say to my 3 kobolds, just go along with anything I say. They're not members of Pyrothrax. It doesn't matter.
Nice.
And then I'll say something like, yes, me and my 3 kids just made it in.
That's awesome. You fool the kids right away, so they're just like, wow, that's cool. Well, if you guys need a place to camp, there's just a big community campsite over here. And kind of points over the hill to that big area that, I described earlier. So like, that's where we're staying.
Okay, cool. Who's in charge? Do you know?
Oh, I don't know. My parents talk to some old guy every now and then, but I don't know his name. He kind of just wanders around the whole camp, though.
Okay. And do I happen to know, relative to where I'm at, where the meteor might be? Is it still kind of far off?
Yeah, you reckon there's probably 1 or 2 more days of travel, but like you're making good time so far. So
okay, this encampment isn't here because of the meteor.
Correct. No, it seems like this has been established for a little while.
Nice.
You're wondering even if it's literally like a campground, perhaps.
Kind of like they're about to start a city.
Yeah, could be.
Okay. So I'll thank the little girl and be on my way and say, all right, guys, just pretend you're little kids. I know that won't be like too hard, but we really need to sell our cover here. And if they don't like beast races, we might have to get out of here.
Fair enough. Glimmerclaw's just like, don't like beast races. What does that mean?
Well, in certain parts of the countries, people don't really like us for the scales of our skin.
Yeah. All right. This is a shock to them for sure. They're like, what? That's terrible. All right. Well, yeah, sure. We'll follow your lead, Master Zeph.
And on into the city. We're going to be looking for whoever's running this encampment for the most part. And maybe if we can get away with it, our resupply and rest.
Okay, sounds good to me. So you make your way a bit further down this path to this very large campsite that you can find. And it actually doesn't take long. So it's basically like as soon as you step in, you walk around a little bit, a few people greet you. Honestly, it feels like it's like 50s suburban community kind of situation. Like you're walking through and everyone's just like, hey, how's it going? Having a beautiful day we're having, like a bunch of people just nicely and naturally greeting you as you're walking along. And then you see one older guy kind of just like wandering the camp, and you see that he's kind of just like waving at everyone. And, he's just like, oh, yeah, Johnson, good to see you. How you been? Just kind of walking around. He's, how's your sister? Very charismatic type. And then he makes eye contact with you and just stops dead in his tracks. And he's just like, holy moly. Well, hi there. You look pretty new to this place. Is there anything I can help you with?
Oh, we're just passing through. Pretty much traveled all through the night, trying to escape from what I might call an orc tribe. We're about a half a day's away now, but you might want to be careful if you head in the way of the Black Sands.
Oh yeah, no, I don't intend to go that way. Too old for all that. Well, hey, we've got plenty of places around, especially on the back side of the camp. And he kind of like motions, further into the camp. He's like, there's several tents that people have already kind of stayed and made their own or up and left quickly after. So really anything that's empty, look around, make sure there's no one there, but feel free if you need to lay your head down for a while.
Wow, thank you, sir. That's mighty kind of you. Do you
like, are these your kids? Look at these cute little, and then like actually kind of like gets a good look at them. He's like, they are cuties.
Yeah, they are. And then Glimmerclaw's probably looking at him like one blink and then the other.
Yeah, yes, exactly. It's like, adorable.
Do you happen to know if there's any bars, or do you need any work done that we might be able to help you with before we depart?
Oh, absolutely. If there's more work than there is to cover it for sure. I have a small group that gathers wood, but a lot of them are kind of ill right now, so I need a lot of wood gathered. Plenty of people here are staying at the camp for various issues in their lives, so you can find help. You can find plenty of people that need to be helped there. Yeah, I mean, all kinds of stuff, really.
Okay, perfect. Well, I might take you up on that woodcutting job in a little bit, but let's go have a rest, everybody. We're getting kind of tired, right, guys? And then probably all three of them will be like, yeah.
Yep.
And then start heading off into the direction of, I guess, an open tent, if there's any around.
Yeah, sounds good. You make your way, you basically walk through like the majority of this little campsite area, and again, people generally treating you very well. There's a few things like there's a few arguments you hear between couples and things. Like some people that are staying here don't necessarily have it that good for whatever reason. Various issues have presented them this circumstance, but most people are very welcoming to you. Those that aren't kind of just ignore you, and it's fine.
Okay.
But before long, you do find a whole section of the campground that seems like tents that were used and then left, set up or easy to set up for newcomers and things like that.
Definitely. All right. So if there's nobody like directing where we can go, I would probably just pick out one of the tents that would be hopefully big enough to accommodate all of us.
Okay, yeah. You do find one kind of like a yurt style tent that's just like a big circle tent that seems like it'll probably fit all of you with a little bit of a squeeze, but it can happen for sure.
Sure thing. And sure, it's probably like early morning or midday or so, and I'd say to these guys, all right, we're going to rest up here, and then we're moving on in just a little bit. We're going to rest up here, and then we're going to be moving on in the morning. Well, we might be able to complete some of these jobs at night, and if we can get some coin for it, all the better.
There you go. Cool. Sounds good. And I'm sure that is actually the plan. You're not just telling them that?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, cool. Okay, sorry, getting a drink. Okay, so basically, you get your spot all set up. Y'all take a real snooze, and it is a well-needed snooze. You wake up, and it's like later in the day. You definitely needed the rest, but we'll say you wake up, and it's like, actually, let me try to think this through. You say you wake up, and it's really just like really early morning. It's like 4 a.m., and you're all kind of awake, and you're like, okay, well, we're ready, kind of thing.
Sounds good to me. Is there like a wood cutting spot that they pretty much need, or should we just head on out of here, guys? Do you think we can talk to the old man in the morning and get $1 or $2, or should we just head out? What do you guys think? I'd be directing that to the 3 kobolds.
Okay, cool. Interesting, fun. So Glimmerclaw basically is just like, interesting. He almost like throws it back at you, but in a very specific way. He's like, whatever honors our Lord Pyrothrax, really. I guess if Pyrothrax, he's kind of like they're now like basing their image and expectation of this dragon Pyrothrax on you specifically. So they're like, it seems like Pyrothrax would maybe really like it if we maybe help some people out, especially if you said that they're down on their luck. And he's like, so I don't know, maybe if we could chop some wood real quick for them before we leave, I guess.
Sounds good to me. That was a test. Good job. And then I'd say something like that to hopefully ease Glimmerclaw's mind. Yes, we are absolutely supposed to help others, but don't ever show mercy when it truly comes to an opponent. Don't mercilessly kill those who don't. What am I trying to say?
I think I get you. I get you.
Don't mercilessly kill those who are so far beneath you that it would actually just be murder, because that's what we were doing with the orcs,
Yeah, for sure. Okay, cool. I get you.
So that way he can still have that dragon ferocity.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, Glimmerclaw basically is just like, he's almost excited. He's like, heck yeah, I passed the test. He's like, let's go. I'm ready to go chop some wood. And you did notice when you were making your way to the tent that there's one spot that you could tell that they were like felling trees kind of outside the campground. You've seen some trees that were like chopped down, and areas where there were entire trees that were already like chopped and stacked and things like that.
Nice.
So
we definitely go over there. We would all definitely go over there, and I'd try to direct the kobolds on how to start chopping wood.
There you go. All right, cool. So you make way over there, and we'll kind of like, it's a chore, so we'll kind of fast forward through this a little bit.
Totally.
But yeah, you guys do manage to collectively chop a decent amount of trees and wood and get lots of wood ready for the campfire. And you actually, at one point, you're actually kind of interrupted, I guess you could say, by the older gentleman you talked to once already, as he's kind of strolled his way out there, and he's just like, I had a feeling I might find you out here. You seem like a good man, kid, like really seems to not know what your age is whatsoever. He's like, you seem like a really good person.
I appreciate that. And you seem like you've been a good guy for decades.
He's like, well, that's the nicest way anyone's ever called me old. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, sir. We've got ourselves here a couple of pieces of firewood. Most of it's likely kindling because of the kobolds, but it's firewood nonetheless.
Hey, listen, you're even putting your kids to work, and they seem like they're having a surprisingly good time with it. So listen, that's totally fine with me. That's you've done more than enough, by the way. Especially if you were just staying for one day, I'd happily reimburse you even. And then he immediately starts like reaching into his pocket.
Okay. I might just say, I appreciate what you're doing there, but maybe you could help me out with something else, a little bit of information. And then I'd start asking maybe about the backgrounds of the occult and religious things that I would be well versed in that I'm avoiding, and say, do you know anything about them, or are they in the direction I'm moving, or maybe even like are the saints or acolytes in this camp right now,
Right. Okay. I get you. And he'll be very upfront with you. He'll be like, well, sure. I mean, if it's really just information you're looking for, I'll give you anything I get. I hear a lot of people talking about a lot of things here. So let's see. The people you're describing, we don't have really anyone staying in that kind of sect or lifestyle for the most part. But we have had people that have been, more or less apprehended for wronging various different temples, and well, unfortunately there are cult-like gang activity things that we've seen related to some of the people that stay, but it really stays pretty far away from the campground. And then he kind of describes this one place and like sect, and he's like, I've been hearing rumors about, he's like, you remember seeing that star the other night? Did you happen to see that?
That's actually where we're headed.
All right. See, that was really interesting and got everyone up in arms here. He's like, I heard whispers of some strange people, maybe even rumors of a cult of some kind that, for whatever reason, seems interested in this fallen star. And I really don't know much other than that. It was just whispers, and I don't remember the specifics. But also, one other thing. Last night, when... And at this point, it's like, I don't know, like probably it's like 6 or 7 a.m.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And he's just like, last night, really, just as soon as night fell, there was glowing in the distance, not too far from here, on the way to the star. And if you were to head directly toward it, I mean, you're probably going to find whatever that was. So just beware of that. I don't know what it was, but it had the same aesthetics that the falling star did itself, and just, I don't know, the strange ethereal glow that it gave off, just seen it in the distance. And I don't know, if you're heading that way, just be mindful of that, I guess.
Absolutely. I really appreciate your tips here. You're helping me out a lot. And I do actually need one thing before I go.
What's that?
I need some new clothes for these guys here. They look a little bit too culty for me.
And he laughs, and he's literally like, he would laugh boisterously, and he's just like, I was thinking the same thing. I didn't want to mention it, but we can scrap you up some, casual clothes for sure.
Thank you. And any good children's clothes will do just fine, but they might need a hole for a tail.
He's like, yeah, I'm sure we've got something we can get to you. If you want to meet me back, maybe just towards the center of the camp, maybe, just 30 minutes or so, we should be able to find something for you.
Absolutely. And yeah, I think we would just wait that 30 minutes. I'd probably even start talking to the kobolds, being like, all right, so what do you want to wear? You like green? You like blue? All right, got it.
That's funny. I like it. It's great. I'm not guaranteeing I'll change their tokens, though. No, I'm just kidding.
No, you're good.
I probably will, actually. Anyway, cool. So you head your way back to town, or not town, camp, and eventually the old gentleman comes to you, and he's carrying this big chest. And he just makes eye contact with it, and he's like, hey, there you are, and kind of like sets the chest down. And he's just like, You've got so many options, man. The people help scrape together anything. All I had to do was mention the interesting Dragonborn in the camp, and everyone knew. So it kind of opens the chest, and there's so many clothes to choose from. And he's like, you should have all kinds of options here.
Okay, absolutely. So for the most part, I would just let them pick out their own stuff.
Sure.
I might tell them that pockets are really awesome, but other than that...
Yeah, Glimmerclaw's like, they're not that awesome. They get sand all over in them. And then he's like, oh, wait, we're not really going to be in the desert anymore, are we?
Not for too long. But I do have something to teach you with that later, too.
All right, cool. So they pick out some clothes they like, and they look much less culty.
Perfect. Prim and proper little boys now, I hope.
Yep. You better believe it. They got like gelled over like hair, and they got their black frame glasses on. No, I'm just kidding.
Perfect. But I'd get them all hooked up with anything that they need before we leave. And I want them all to have like a little, I guess, pouch on their side for any of their possessions or valuables.
Okay.
Just
Easily
to make them all
achieved.
look. Oh yeah, just to make them all look like they got their own fanny pack.
Perfect.
And then we'll head out for the day.
Okay.
Probably even looking for that celestial light.
Yes, interesting. Okay. So, making it simple, you travel for really the vast majority of the day, and you get very far. You make your way through the climate. As you're traveling, the climate completely has transitioned over to a relatively lush, like forested area, lots of greens. You went through an area of plains first, but now it's like almost jungle-esque. And it's a very different and very humid compared to what you've already gotten used to on your journey.
Man,
and
seeing it all.
Yeah, basically. And the kobolds are hating it. They're like, this sucks. It's so muggy. What is this? They're just like really not used to it. But they'll live, they're fine.
Oh, yeah.
And eventually you come upon this point where you're seeing a interesting bluish hue as you're traveling. And it's like, you're also hearing this weird, like, you like hear a waterfall from really far out, right? Mm-hmm. You can actually hear some water running in the distance, but you hear this weird, it's just like a mystical, like, humming, almost like music.
Okay.
As you're traveling forward. Are you doing anything with that? Or are you just going to get a bit closer and actually see what's going on?
I would try to see what's going on for the most part. Just inspect the light. I might even use my dragonette to investigate some things for me. If it can.
Okay.
If it can be a light compared to another light, maybe they'll be friends.
Fair enough. Okay. And another thing that's interesting, you mentioned your dragonette, and the second that you call on it, it like just so excitedly springs forth out of your amulet, and it's just like zipping around you, and it is like it had way too much caffeine or sugar or something, and it's just like going crazy. And it immediately kind of like flies away from you into the distance to the point that you lose track of it, like so fast. It's just like it's zipping forward and it's gone.
Okay. Follow that thing.
All right.
And I might even like mention just offhandedly, almost as if I accidentally said it. I'd say it like, so the kobolds hear it, but I'd say, Phyrexia's will, and then run after it,
Oh, interesting.
Call it Phyrexia's will, just to make sure the little kobolds honor it as much as possible.
Oh, there you go. Sounds good. And they're right with you in track. So you guys are sprinting towards this, following your dragonette, and it eventually, you're like running forward, kind of like pushing brush out of the way and trees and leaves and everything else, till eventually you brush your way into a completely open clearing, and there's just like a bunch of nearly black gray, like slate standing stones in this open area. And there are so many just like floating around blue lights, just dancing around casually. And you see your dragonette just kind of like flying around in the middle of this like standing stone area. There's a stone platform even. It looks kind of like Stonehenge. And then your dragonette, like there's this one small built up stone area in the middle of it that looks a bit like I don't want to say an altar, but it's basically just like a pedestal looking thing.
Okay.
And your dragonette's just kind of like flying around that until it finally like sees you burst through the clearing, and then it dives into this pedestal, and you watch the same ethereal blue light that coats your dragonette immediately like springs forth and starts tracing ley lines in all of these standing stones.
Whoa.
And you see this large, ethereal, just like lion, and its like mane is just like made of stars, and it just looks crazy, like it's mind-blowing. And it just like starts walking towards you and is like, I hope you're ready for your tests.
Mufasa?
And we'll actually wrap it up right there.
Perfect.
Good fun. So you've got that to think about now?
Sounds good to me. So did my dragonette specifically do that on his own, or did all of the blue lights follow my dragonette into the altar?
Yeah, I can't leave questions like that standing, right? So, so basically, they seemed like just interesting but mundane stones that were there, and then your dragonette dove directly into this altar, and you lost sight of it, and then just like blue ley lines burst forth everywhere on all of the stones and stuff.
Okay. So the blue dancing lights that my dragon was around didn't follow him in?
No, they're still just kind of hanging out.
Nice. Okay.
Sorry, I misunderstood. Yep, those lights are just kind of hanging out around the area, making it feel very celestially and mysteriously interesting.
Nice. All right, I can't wait to see how that ends up.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Cool. All right, cool. Well, you want to give us some sort of send-off?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I always have a lot of fun with these sessions, and if you guys have fun watching them, leave it down in the comments below, because I'd love to know. What would you do if a giant celestial lion got in your face? Leave it down below. But other than that, guys, I've been Alex.
And I have been Cody.
From Slow Your Roll. And I hope you guys have a great day, and we'll see you all later.
See ya.